We use websites for literally everything: our jobs, our social lives, you name it. But have you ever actually stopped and wondered what makes them all work? Well, in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and dive right into the world of web development. Seriously, think about it for a second. When you're binge watching your favorite show or scrambling to book a flight, there's this huge invisible machine working its magic behind the scenes. It's an entire universe of code and logic that brings that experience right to your screen. And that, my friends, is web development. Now, it's not just about how pretty a website looks. That's more web design. Web development is all about how a site functions. I like to think of it like building a house. It's the blueprint that gives it structure, the electrical wiring that makes things happen when you flip a switch, and the plumbing that manages the whole flow of information. But to really get a grip on where we are now, we kind of have to go back in time. Because the web wasn't always this super interactive, dynamic thing we use every day. Oh no, its origins were, well, a lot simpler. It all kicked off back in 1989 with HTML. The very first websites, they were basically just digital brochures, static pages of text and images. Then the 90s came along and breathed a little life into them with JavaScript for behavior and CSS for style. But the 2000s, that's when things got really interesting, thanks to a technology called Ajax. This is what lets parts of a web page update without you having to reload the whole thing. It's the reason a new email can just pop into your inbox without you ever hitting refresh. And all of that brings us right here to today, where these complex, mobile-first experiences are just the standard. So, how in the world do developers manage all this complexity? Well, the trick is to think of any modern website as having two different sides, two parts that are always talking to each other. Okay, so first you've got the front end. This is literally everything you see and touch on your screen. The buttons you click, the forms you fill out, the menus you browse, all of that is the front end. It's built with three main ingredients: HTML for the structure, CSS to make it look good, and JavaScript to make it do stuff. And then there's the back end. This is the powerhouse engine room that you never actually see. So when you log into a website, the front end sends your username and password to the back end. The back end then checks that information against a database, confirms it's you, and then tells the front end, yep, let him in. That's the server, the database, all the heavy lifting that happens behind the scenes. So let's just boil it down, right? Front end is what you see. It's the visual part. Back end is how it all works. It's the server and the database running behind the curtain. And for pretty much any website you use today, you absolutely need both. There's this great analogy I love for this. Imagine a coffee shop. The front end is the friendly barista you talk to and the menu you order from. The back end? That's the entire kitchen in the back. The espresso machine, the stock room, all the recipes. And a full-stack developer? Well, that's the awesome owner who knows how to do every single job in the building. Okay, so if we're going to build that coffee shop, what are we going to use? What are the actual tools of the trade? Let's take a look at the specific languages and technologies that developers have in their toolkit. For the front end, the foundation is always HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. But then you've got these incredible frameworks like React or Vue that help build complicated stuff way faster. On the back end, developers use languages like Node.js or Python to write all the logic, and they connect to databases like MongoDB or MySQL to store all the data. And then you have tools everyone uses, like Git for tracking code changes, and APIs, which are kind of like waiters that run back and forth, letting all the different pieces of software talk to each other. All right, so now we know the concepts, we know the tools, but what does it actually feel like to be a web developer? Let's explore some of the cool career paths this knowledge can unlock. Oh, the career paths are super diverse. You could choose to specialize as a front-end engineer and create beautiful, intuitive experiences. Or maybe you're a back-end developer building powerful systems. Or hey, you could be a full-stack developer and do it all. And you know what's one of the best parts? It's one of the most remote-friendly careers you can find. And that, of course, brings up a huge question that I'm sure is on a lot of your minds. Do you really need a 4-year computer science degree to do this stuff? And look, the answer is a pretty resounding no. A degree can definitely be helpful, don't get me wrong, but it is not a requirement. So many amazing developers are self-taught or come from boot camps and online courses, because in this industry, what you've built often screams way louder than a piece of paper. Okay, so it's accessible, but is it gonna last? I mean, with technology changing so fast, is this a smart career move for the future? Is it future-proof? 100%. The web isn't going anywhere. It's just evolving. The core skills are more valuable than ever, and there are always new frontiers opening up. We're seeing it with AI integration, with the push into augmented and virtual reality, and with amazing tech like WebAssembly, which lets you run super high-performance apps right in your browser. It's totally blurring the lines between a website and a full-blown desktop app. It's wild. Which, of course, leads us to the elephant in the room. The question everyone is asking right now, what about AI? Is it going to come for web developers' jobs? Think of it this way. AI is an amazing tool. It's like the world's best assistant, making developers faster and more efficient. But it's not the boss. It can write code, sure, but it can't replicate that human spark, the creativity, the strategic problem solving, the ability to understand nuance. And that's what makes a developer truly great. Wow, okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, right? From the web's super simple beginnings all the way to today's careers in cutting-edge tech. So, after all that, what's the big takeaway here? What's the most important thing to remember? It really comes down to this. Web development is so much more than just tapping away at a keyboard. It's this massive, dynamic, and honestly incredibly creative field. At its heart, it's about building the digital world that we all live in every single day. And as we look to the future, the conversation is really starting to change. The big question isn't, can a machine write code anymore? The real question is, how will we, as humans, use our creativity and our vision to steer these unbelievably powerful new tools? The future of the web isn't just about code. It's about the big ideas behind it. So the only question left is, what are you going to build?